Hey YouTube, what's up? I know I hadn't posted in quite some time, so I've been past due in trying to do this. Sorry, as I'm trying to get into some good light over here. Just a quick update about what all's been going on right now. It is April 26, I believe, 2020, Sunday afternoon. So anyway, not a whole lot really has been going on. We are, I think, about 2 months into this quarantine, lockdown, and stuff like that. The governor has actually decided to reopen the state come May 1st, but I think a lot of municipalities, it's discretionary as to whether or not they're going to stay open or not. So in that time, not really a whole lot has changed for me. My job states that I am essential, so I have to continue working. But I've actually been taking a lot of time off, ironically, but that's just how things are starting to go. But in the meantime, I really can't go anywhere, can't do much of anything, so I've been knocking out a lot of projects around the property. So I'll get into that. One of the big reasons why I haven't really been doing a lot of vlogging, for the most part, editing is a big deal for me. I'm still trying to figure that out. I really don't have a very efficient way to edit any of my vlogs. I've been doing everything on my iPhone, which works great, but when you're trying to cut and splice, it gets a little tedious. Sorry about the wind noise. So when it comes to trying to upload any of my content, being out here in the country, I just don't have the power necessarily to do it from here. So I usually have to go into the city, connect to Wi-Fi or whatever, and do it from there. My Wi-Fi and my signal out here just really isn't strong enough for me to do a lot of uploading from here. So I'm working on that solution. So I'm gonna try to edit this and send it on my laptop, which I need a new computer anyway. So maybe that'll speed things along, maybe not. So anyway, well, one of the main things that I have done since I have been home a lot is on my pasture fence, I have installed electric wiring. So let me turn the camera around. So I've got one hot wire that goes around, I would say, about a good 3/4 of my pasture. Wasn't really too hard to install. I did it over a course of several days. I used 14 gauge wire to do it, got some insulators. One thing I learned is if you're doing this and you're connecting your hot wire to T-post that already has barbed wire, buy the 5-inch, the ones that stick out about 5 inches. You don't want to be worrying about, because what's going to happen until you get this tight, it will get caught up in your barbed wire. So buy the 5-inch ones. I had to go back and buy some and replace some of the insulators around my property. So that's one big change. That was really a huge game changer for me. I'm now able to split up my pasture. Right now I've got poly wire that has my pasture split up into a few separate paddocks. Right now this is the south end, and I actually have cattle now, which I'll walk down there here in a bit. I've got basically this poly wire stretched from here to my other property line over there. I actually have the spool down over there. It needs to be over here, but I'll change that at some other point in time. I had to get this guy separated from his mama. As a matter of fact, today's his birthday, because he was still nursing, so I had to go ahead and get him weaned. So he's been off of his mama for maybe 3 weeks now, maybe a month. I'm not quite sure just yet. So far, so good. And I've also purchased some cattle. They're over there laying down in the shade right now. I got them off of my neighbor over there. I've got 3 head, 1 steer and 2 heifers. All right, so I turned the camera off so that I can walk down over here. So These are my new girls. I got 2 heifers. They're about a year and a half old, and this guy right here is a steer. They're Angus's, and I think this one's an Angus Charolais cross. Again, I just got them from right over the fence from my neighbor. So I wanted to take the jump into it, and now I'm looking into getting even more. Let's see here. And they're pretty tame. I hadn't been able to get too close to them, but they've only been here maybe a week. So plan is, at least with him, to feed him out, then butcher them. These two get bred probably next year or later on this year. So that's trying to think that's it for a lot of the new stuff that I've been doing. All right, I'm back. So on top of that, I went and ordered 30 more of the Freedom Ranger broilers from Freedom Ranger Hatchery. I think that's what they're called. They're out of oh, don't get me a line. I'll post a link, I think, on it. And I'm also going to do a separate video about chickens here pretty soon, but here they are. Here is a brooder I made for them. I built this entirely out of scrap that I had laying around. Not entirely, actually, just this door. I had to go and buy all the material. I had to buy this hardwood cloth for this, and I had to buy the wood for that. But the hinges, the crate, the legs, everything was what I had on hand already. Even the tin I had on hand. So I ordered 30, ended up with 32. So the first batch of meat birds I did were Cornish cross. I did 20 of those, or actually I did 19, and then I had a few that died, so I ended up butchering only 16. Later that year, I did a batch of 50. I did 25 Cornish cross, 25 of these Freedom Rangers. I really like the Freedom Rangers over the Cornish cross in taste, in temperament, and disposition, and all that. So my plan for them, much like what I did last year, I'm going to use my chicken tractor over there, which I don't have the cover on yet, but here in another couple weeks, these guys are going to go out into the tractor. But what I'm going to do is, I've got electric netting set up that I'm going to just give them a big paddock to free range, so that they're not totally confined to the tractor itself. For me, in my schedule, sometimes it gets to be a little bit of a burden. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it can be a little bit of a burden to move them every single day. And eventually I kind of run out of space. So to at least give them a little bit of area to graze and free range, I think that does a lot better for them. I like how they taste a lot better. They don't grow quite as fast as the Cornish cross. I ended up butchering them out at, I think, about 14 weeks. I kept them longer than what I should, but they still turned out okay. But I'm hoping that because it's going to be spring into summer, that they're going to grow a lot faster. So I really have high hopes for them. I'll be doing videos on that. But I got these guys that are about 2 weeks old now. So again, ordered 30, got 2 for free. Can't argue with that. I've also taken the leap in letting my egg layers free range. Before, I had them in a coop this whole entire time, and I was always nervous about letting them out because of predation and stuff like that. But even though that is a very real threat out here, my way around that is I usually only let them out when I'm going to be home for most of the day. So obviously the last couple of weeks I've been out, I've been home a whole lot. So I've been able to keep a pretty good eye on them. I'll still make trips into town and stuff like that, but usually after dark, they're all accounted for in their coop. I did order 15 more egg layer chicks that I don't know when they're going to arrive, but hopefully they'll get here after these guys get out. Because the other issue with having egg layers is this: out of the 20 I have, if I lose one, that could be a hit in my production overall. So having more, if I lose a couple a year, you know, not too bad, but you know, that's just how I'm trying to keep the numbers in my head. So these guys, their coop is way over there, right there on the other side of my gazebo. Their coop is all the way over there, and they've free range pretty much over in here. So that's pretty much that. I am also looking to make the jump into hogs. I'm looking to do that very soon. And part of the reason why I've gotten a little aggressive with some of this stuff is because with this whole pandemic that's going on, a lot of people were flipping out. Obviously, for me, it really hasn't been a big deal. I haven't had to buy chicken in about a year now. I hadn't had to buy eggs in 2 years. But in terms of other food sources, that really got me to thinking about actually getting into beef, getting into pork, getting that stuff going. So here I am. But anyway, I've got a place already plotted out as far as where I'm going to keep them and stuff like that. So hopefully this week I'll build their pens, and then when that gets done, I'll find some. Hopefully I'll be able to have them fed out by this coming fall. So lastly, this is my attempt 2 at a garden. So last year I tried to plant cabbage and lettuce, but I didn't know that they were cool season plants. I planted them about this time of year, actually, and they all bolted. So actually I think this one here is starting to bolt. So that might become chicken food, but what did I get? So I got butter crunch lettuce and 45-day cabbage, and they both look to be doing pretty good. Last year I had peppers and tomatoes in here, and they all did pretty well, I think. So I wanted to get the cabbage in earlier just to make sure that I could do it. So chickens are out there grazing. So that's really all I have. That's kind of the update for right now. I wanted to go ahead and get this out because I'm getting ready to actually burn a bunch of brush that I cut down over the last couple months that I need to burn. It's not been here in Oklahoma in springtime. I need a day where I have time, I have no wind, and I have no moisture to get that done. And even though it's Sunday, today's the day, so I'm going to go ahead and get that done. But I wanted to go ahead and get this video out. Hopefully I can get this edited and uploaded tonight. I got a couple other videos in mind that I'm going to do here in the not too distant future. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe, share this video. If you have any recommendations about anything that I do that you have questions about, I'll do a video on it. So anyway, that's that.